All right, Doc, you're on.
Hey, I have a question for the doc all the way from Norway. In 2013, I wrecked my bike bad. I broke my neck and suffered some nerve injuries. I worked out before and have run some mild cycles. My right arm, shoulder slash shoulder blade, and pec are working, but are so weak it's hard to train and a lot of pain. I had a mild nerve root tear at C5. The doctor has checked nerve response and they seem to still be growing back. I have also stretched some ligaments in the cervical spine causing nerve irritation. I would like some advice on running a cycle for helping me building some mass, but most helping ligaments and tendons heal. Okay, so ligaments and tendons don't necessarily or normally respond to anabolic steroids, but they do respond to growth hormone. So maybe you could ask your doctor in Norway if that's appropriate to help you heal. Also, it might help, because it's a growth hormone. It might help with some of the nerve impingement. You mentioned the ligaments that are stretched and somehow impinging on cervical spinal nerves. Cervical spine causing irritation, those ligaments. It might help. 2013, so that was 4 years ago. Nerve repair is a long process. If you're younger, we don't have an age here, but it's much shorter than when you're older. They'll tell you, it could be a year to 18 months for a young guy. So they told me after many spine surgeries, and I'm telling you, I gotta say 2.5 years, kind of minimum. But there are some other things that you can take which help nerves. The one that we have the most proof for is vitamin B6. You definitely want to supplement. Why bother with just one when you can take them all and still get enough B6? So I recommend to all my patients, and I was an accountant before I'm a doctor, so I'm honest and conservative, right? All my patients, unless they're already supplementing with, vitamin D or something, I recommend B complex and D3. D3 is not necessarily going to help with the nerves, but the B complex, specifically the B vitamin, will. There's some other items that might help with the nerves, such as it's called lion's mane. It goes by many other names, but it would be considered a supplement. It's purported, and there are studies to back it up, to help regrow nerves through the stimulation of a nerve factor, whose name is escaping me right now. I apologize. But really, those are the only things that we have good science behind at this point. Time is the biggest thing. And of course, one of the best pieces of advice I got from a neurosurgeon the first time I broke my neck was, I probably shouldn't say his name, but he said that nerves are like garden hoses, and when you have an irritation, a block in the nerve, think of it like the kinked garden hose. The best thing you can do to unkink that hose is to run more water through it. The more you do so, the more the pressure of the water will unkink the hose. The point being that, get that thing working again. We've proven that plasticity exists, certainly in the brain and other nerve tissue. So without going too far, without overdoing it, which has been a caution I've received twice in 55 years, you should activate the nerves, just like we would any other thing. We talked about motor units being developed at some point. If you're trying to increase strength, you want more connections from the brain to a particular nerve fiber. You don't necessarily want more muscle, especially if it's not perpendicular to the resistance, unless you're a bodybuilder. But for strength, sometimes you just need, excuse me, more connection. And how we've been doing that? Practice, right? You get fired up, if you will, so that you're sending a very strong signal from the brain, the nerve, down through the nerve to the muscle. Same thing. We've seen this in recovering patients, or patients recovering from, Parkinson's, or not Parkinson's necessarily. Well, Parkinson's would apply in some cases, but I meant stroke, where you've got nerve damage and you've got to build that connection back up. Or another pathway, if you can't use the exact same pathway, you build a supplemental pathway. So I would keep at it, keep trying to train those nerves to work. You have to relieve the irritation though. So if there is some impingement from bone or some other body, then it ain't going to get any better until you remove that piece. But once that irritation has been removed, in this case he's talking about, I don't know which ligaments are stretched and causing the irritation. It may not be as simple as, okay, just move those out of the way. But in healing those, presumably, I guess, again, without knowing, you could help with stopping the nerve irritation and helping the nerve heal at the same time. So growth hormone, B6, which I would just take all the B complex, and it's called lion's mane. I'm sure you can look it up on the internet. Those are the ones that have proof. There may be others that are still considered experimental or maybes. They just don't, and they may be working great. We just don't have enough proof behind them. Like, we've talked about the peptide BPC 157 for tendons, not for this, not for nerves.
Yeah.
But the rat studies are great, and of course the anecdotal evidence is pretty good too. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen some patients, strongman competitors who swear by the stuff, and others, but we just don't have the studies to support it yet.
Yeah. Very cool. Thank you, Doc.